What happens when one of the most influential men in the world, wearing a simple MAGA hat, gets turned away at a glamorous movie premiere? This is a story of perception, humility, and an ending that will leave you speechless. Sometimes, the biggest surprises come from the smallest moments. It was a star-studded evening in Los Angeles. The red carpet gleamed under the lights, with photographers snapping away at celebrities posing in designer suits and dazzling gowns. The premiere of the highly anticipated blockbuster had drawn Hollywood's elite, and the entrance buzzed with excitement. In the midst of all the glamour, a man stepped out of a car dressed simply in jeans, a leather jacket, and a MAGA hat tilted slightly over his forehead. The man was none other than Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur known for revolutionizing space travel, electric vehicles, and renewable energy. However, tonight wasn't about Tesla or SpaceX. It was about enjoying a rare break from his busy schedule to see a film he'd been excited about for months. But as Elon approached the entrance, a stern-looking event staff member blocked his path. "Excuse me, sir," the staff member said curtly, glancing at Elon's outfit and then pointedly at his hat. "I'm sorry, but we can't let you in. This is a formal event, and well, your hat might cause a disturbance." Elon raised an eyebrow, genuinely surprised. "I have a ticket," he said, holding it up. "I'm afraid I can't allow you inside," the staff member insisted, crossing their arms. A few guests nearby began to whisper and snicker. Some recognized Elon immediately, while others just saw a man in a red hat being turned away. "Isn't that Elon Musk?" someone murmured. "No way. Why would Elon Musk wear that hat to a premiere?" another replied. Elon sighed, shaking his head with a wry smile. He wasn't one to argue. "All right," he said calmly. "If that's your policy, I'll respect it. Have a good evening." As Elon turned to leave, the whispers grew louder. Some onlookers seemed amused, while others looked puzzled. Why would someone like Elon Musk, one of the most brilliant minds of the era, be turned away so easily? Elon walked back to his car, still smiling. He wasn't upset. If anything, he found the situation fascinating. In his mind, it was another example of how quickly people judge others based on appearances or assumptions. Instead of heading home, Elon decided to take a detour. He drove to a nearby diner, one of his favorite low-key spots in the city. It was a small, family-run place that served classic comfort food. When he walked in, the owner, a kind elderly man named Joe, greeted him warmly. "Elon, good to see you, my friend," Joe said, his face lighting up. "Hey, Joe," Elon replied, removing his hat and sliding into a booth. "Rough night?" Joe asked, noticing Elon's slightly amused expression. "Not rough," Elon said with a chuckle. "Just interesting. Let's just say I learned a lesson in how people perceive others." Joe nodded knowingly. "The world's full of people who judge a book by its cover. But you? You've always been about what's inside." Elon smiled at the compliment. He ordered his usual, a cheeseburger and fries, and spent the next hour chatting with Joe about everything from life to technology. The diner was a grounding place for Elon, a reminder of the simpler things in life. Meanwhile, back at the premiere, news of Elon's rejection had started to spread. A few people tweeted about it, and soon, the story began to gain traction. "Elon Musk turned away from the premiere," read one post. Even billionaires aren't immune to red carpet drama. By the next morning, the story had gone viral, but what caught everyone's attention wasn't just the fact that Elon had been rejected, it was his reaction. Unlike many high-profile figures who might have made a scene or demanded special treatment, Elon had walked away quietly and even smiled. His calm demeanor and humility earned him widespread praise online. "A lesson in grace from Elon Musk," one commentator wrote. A few days later, Elon received an unexpected call. It was from the film's director, a renowned figure in Hollywood, who had just learned about the incident. "Elon, I heard what happened at the premiere," the director said, sounding both embarrassed and apologetic. "I want to personally apologize. That shouldn't have happened." "No need to apologize," Elon replied. "I'm not upset. It was an interesting experience and I learned something from it." "Well," the director said, "I'd like to make it up to you. How about a private screening of the film at your convenience? My treat." Elon laughed softly. "That's a kind offer, but only if I can bring a few friends." "Absolutely," the director agreed. When the day of the private screening arrived, Elon showed up with an unexpected group: Joe, the diner owner, and a few of the diner's regular customers. "This is a first," the director said with a laugh as he welcomed them into the private theater. Elon introduced Joe and the others, explaining how the diner had become a special place for him, a spot where he could be himself without any pretenses. As they watched the film together, the atmosphere was warm and relaxed. Joe, who hadn't been to a movie theater in years, was particularly delighted. "This is incredible," he whispered to Elon. After the screening, the director joined the group for dinner at the diner. It was a far cry from the glitz of the red carpet, but the conversations were real, heartfelt, and meaningful. The director was momentarily stunned by Elon's suggestion. He had expected Elon Musk to accept the private screening as an exclusive gesture of apology. Instead, here he was, proposing to turn the event into a celebration for everyday heroes, people who often went unnoticed but carried the world on their shoulders. Honestly, I didn't expect that," the director admitted, his voice filled with genuine surprise. "But it's a brilliant idea. Let's do it. I'll handle the logistics, and you can create the guest list." Elon's eyes sparkled. "Perfect. Trust me, this is going to be something special." In the following days, Elon threw himself into curating the guest list with the same precision and care that he brought to his ambitious ventures. He wasn't interested in selecting celebrities or high-profile individuals. Instead, he focused on people whose stories had left a deep impression on him. First, there was Maria, a single mother who worked tirelessly as a nurse. Elon had met her while visiting a hospital to donate ventilators during the pandemic. Maria had shared how she balanced her demanding job with raising 2 kids, teaching them the importance of compassion and resilience. Then there was Ahmed, a delivery driver who had once gone out of his way to return a lost package to Elon. The gesture, though small, had left a lasting impact on Elon. It wasn't just the effort Ahmed had put in, it was his humility and refusal to accept a tip for doing the right thing. Elon also thought of Clara, a middle school science teacher who had written to him about how she used Tesla and SpaceX as inspirations to ignite her students' curiosity. Her passion for teaching and dedication to her students had touched Elon deeply. The list grew longer, each name representing a story of perseverance, kindness, or quiet heroism. From a janitor who worked overtime to support his family, to a young woman who founded a non-profit to help foster kids transition into adulthood, the guest list became a tapestry of unsung heroes. On the night of the event, the atmosphere was unlike any Hollywood gathering. The private screening venue was adorned not with glitz and glamour, but with warmth and subtle elegance. The decor featured thoughtful touches, tables with handwritten thank you notes from Elon himself, and displays highlighting the stories of the invited guests. As the guests arrived, many of them were visibly awestruck. Maria, the nurse, marveled at the personalized touches. "I've never been to anything like this," she said to her son, who held her hand tightly. Ahmed, the delivery driver, looked around, his usual reserved demeanor giving way to a smile. "This isn't what I expected when I got the invite," he admitted to Clara, the teacher, who stood beside him. Clara laughed, a bit overwhelmed herself. "Same here, but it's incredible, isn't it? To think someone like Elon Musk would go out of his way to honor people like us." When Elon arrived, dressed in his trademark casual style, he blended seamlessly with the crowd. He greeted each guest personally, taking the time to listen to their stories and thank them for their contributions. "Tonight is about you," he told them. "You're the ones who inspire me. You remind me why I do what I do." As the film began, the room was filled with a mixture of laughter, applause, and gasps of surprise. But it wasn't just the film that captivated the audience, it was the shared experience, the feeling of being seen and valued. Elon, seated among the guests, watched not just the movie but the reactions of those around him. He saw Maria's son, wide-eyed with wonder, whispering excitedly to his mother. He noticed Clara jotting down notes, no doubt thinking of ways to share the experience with her students. When the credits rolled, the room erupted into applause, not just for the film, but for the sense of connection it had fostered among the group. After the screening, the night continued with dinner at a nearby restaurant. Elon had chosen a local spot known for its welcoming atmosphere and delicious comfort food. The guests, who had initially felt out of place at such an event, now mingled effortlessly, sharing stories and laughter. Elon moved through the room, engaging in conversations with everyone. He spoke to Ahmed about his dreams of starting his own delivery business. He listened intently as Clara described her latest project to make science education more accessible. At one point, Maria approached Elon, her son by her side. "Mr. Musk, I just want to thank you," she said, her voice full of emotion. "You didn't have to do this, but you did. It means the world to us." Elon smiled warmly. "Maria, what you do every day means the world to so many people. This is just a small way of saying thank you. And please, call me Elon." As the evening wound down, Elon took a moment to address the group. Standing at the center of the restaurant, with the guests gathered around him, he spoke from the heart. "Tonight has been one of the most meaningful experiences of my life," he began. "It's not every day that you get to sit down with the people who truly make the world a better place. You may not see it that way, but trust me, you do. Each of you represents what it means to live with purpose and integrity." He paused, his eyes scanning the room. In a world that often celebrates fame and wealth, it's easy to forget the quiet heroes, the nurses, the teachers, the drivers, the parents, who keep everything running. But tonight, I hope you all know how much you're valued and appreciated. The room fell silent, his words sinking into the hearts of everyone present. For a moment it felt as though the walls of the restaurant disappeared, leaving behind only a group of ordinary people basking in an extraordinary moment of recognition. Maria, the nurse, felt tears sting her eyes. She reached for her son's hand under the table and gave it a gentle squeeze. Ahmed leaned back in his chair, his usual guarded demeanor replaced by a sense of pride. Clara, the teacher, scribbled something in her notebook, a quote perhaps, or an idea sparked by Elon's words. Elon stood there, not as the billionaire entrepreneur or the face of Tesla and SpaceX, but as one human being connecting with others. He held their gaze a moment longer before continuing, his tone soft but resolute. "You don't need to have $1 billion or a rocket company to change the world. Real change happens in small, consistent actions, in how you treat the people around you, how you show up for your families, your communities, and even strangers. It's those acts of kindness, those moments of grace, that make the world better." The applause that followed was unlike the polite clapping one might hear at a formal event. It was loud, heartfelt, and deeply personal. People stood, clapping not just for Elon but for one another, for the nurse who worked endless shifts, for the delivery driver who went the extra mile, for the teacher who stayed late to help a struggling student. As the dinner came to an end, Elon made his way around the room one last time, shaking hands and exchanging a few words with each guest. Maria's son approached him shyly, holding a napkin in his hand. "Mr. Musk," the boy said, his voice barely above a whisper, "can you sign this for me? I want to keep it forever." Elon crouched down to the boy's level, smiling warmly. "Of course. What's your name?" "Jaden," the boy replied, his cheeks flushing. Elon signed the napkin with a flourish and handed it back. "Jaden, I have a feeling you're going to do great things one day. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise." The boy beamed, clutching the napkin like a treasure. Maria watched the interaction with a mixture of gratitude and pride, her heart swelling at the kindness Elon had shown her son. As the last guests began to trickle out, Elon lingered for a moment, taking in the scene. The restaurant, now quiet, still seemed to hum with the energy of the evening. The owner approached him, wiping his hands on an apron. "Mr. Musk," the owner began, hesitating. "I just wanted to thank you for choosing our place for such a special night. It means a lot to us, especially these days." Elon shook his hand firmly. "Thank you for creating such a warm, welcoming space. This night wouldn't have been the same anywhere else." The owner smiled, his face lighting up with a mixture of relief and pride. "If you ever need a place for another gathering like this, just say the word. Dinner's in the house." Elon chuckled. "I'll hold you to that." In the car ride home, Elon reflected on the night. He thought about the conversations he'd had, the stories he'd heard, and the impact he'd witnessed firsthand. For all the grand plans and ambitious projects he was known for, it was moments like these, simple, human connections, that reminded him why he worked so hard in the first place. Back at his office, long after everyone else had gone home, Elon sat at his desk, scrolling through messages and updates on his phone. His inbox was flooded with thank you emails from the guests. Some shared how the evening had inspired them to take a bold step in their lives. Others simply expressed gratitude for being seen and appreciated. One email in particular caught his attention. It was from Clara, the teacher. "Dear Mr. Musk, thank you for an unforgettable evening. I wanted to share something with you. My students were so inspired by what I told them about the event that they decided to start a kindness club at school. They're brainstorming ways to help others in our community, and I know this wouldn't have happened without your generosity and vision. Thank you for showing us what true leadership looks like. Warm regards, Clara." Elon leaned back in his chair, a smile spreading across his face. The ripples of that one evening were already reaching places he hadn't anticipated. Months later, the story of the private screening and dinner resurfaced in a news article. It wasn't flashy or headline-grabbing. It was a quiet recounting of the night, told through the eyes of one of the guests. The article highlighted the people Elon had chosen to honor and the impact the event had on their lives. Readers around the world were touched by the story. It became a viral sensation, not because of Elon's fame, but because of the universal message it carried. Kindness, humility, and genuine human connection were more powerful than any amount of money or success. Elon, as usual, shrugged off the attention. When asked about it in an interview, he simply said, "The real stars of that night were the guests. I just set the stage. They're the ones who shined."